This is not a video. This is a frequency event. The Arcturians waited for this moment in your timeline. The Arcturians didn't find you hanged. You finally became visible. You weren't called. You were activated.
This transmission didn't appear randomly. It responded to your field.
Your activation started before you even pressed play.
If this reached you, something ancient inside you just awakened.
Tonight, you will feel the part of you that is older than this body.
If this reached you, stop. Something is happening inside you right now. Not in your mind, not in your imagination, in your field. Because when the Arcturians open your memory, they always do the same thing next. They activate you. And if this video appeared on your screen, it means they already started. You can feel it, even if you can't explain it. That tightness in your chest that appears out of nowhere. That pressure behind your forehead. That sudden clarity that feels too clean to be random. That instinct saying, "Pay attention, this is for you." This is not a coincidence. This is not just a video. This is not curiosity or the algorithm. This is the moment your frequency crossed the line they were waiting for. Because the Arcturians never activate a soul too early. They wait for a very specific vibration, a vibration you only reach when memory begins to return. And that's why you're here. Something ancient inside you has started to move. Something you sealed long before you were human. Something that has been calling them, and they are answering. Not with contact, not with signs, not with messages, but with activation. You may think you clicked this video. You didn't. You were pulled into it. Your field shifted. Your timeline opened. Your memory rose, and the Arcturians responded instantly. That tingling in your hands, that buzzing in your chest, that sudden emotional sensitivity, that strange sense of déjà vu, those aren't symptoms, they're codes waking up. And tonight, we go deeper than memory, deeper than recognition, deeper than intuition, into the stage every awakened soul eventually reaches, the Arcturian activation phase. This is not the beginning of a video. This is the moment your activation becomes irreversible. Take a breath. Feel the pull. Feel the expansion. Feel the truth rising from somewhere older than your life. You didn't arrive here. You were brought here. And the activation begins now.
Chapter 1. The exact moment your activation started. There is a moment in every awakening when something inside you changes so subtly that the mind ignores it, but the soul doesn't. A moment when a quiet shift happens in the deepest part of your field. A moment when the Arcturians know they're ready. Begin the activation. You've already lived this moment. Maybe you didn't recognize it at the time. No one ever does. Because Arcturian activation doesn't begin loud. It begins like a soft internal click. A recalibration of something invisible inside you. Here are the real signs that your activation already started long before you watched this video. 1. A sudden emotional clarity you couldn't explain. Not happiness, not sadness, clarity. A moment when you felt something shift inside your chest, as if a fog dissolved for just 1 second. You didn't know what happened, but something inside you aligned. That was the first spark. 2. An increase in sensitivity that felt too much. Sounds became louder. Crowds became heavier. Your intuition became faster. Your dreams became sharper. It wasn't overstimulation. It was your field awakening. 3. The feeling that something was watching over you. Not in a fearful way, in a familiar way. A presence that felt ancient, gentle, patient. You didn't imagine it. You registered contact. 4. A moment when your old identity didn't fit anymore. You felt it. I'm not that person anymore. Not because of growth, not because of healing, but because a deeper version of you was rising to the surface and the old identity couldn't contain it. This is one of the first signs of activation. 5. A subtle pull toward the Arcturians without knowing why. Their eyes, their energy, their colors, their presence. It wasn't curiosity, it wasn't interest, it was recognition. Because activation always begins with the return of familiarity. 6. A disruption in your timeline. Something unexpected happened recently. An ending, a beginning, a shift, a correction. You didn't lose control. Your timeline recalibrated to prepare space for activation. 7. A quiet voice inside you said, "Pay attention." It wasn't intuition. It wasn't imagination. It was the higher layer of your own consciousness stepping forward for the first time in this lifetime. That was the moment your activation truly began. Because activation never starts from outside you. It starts the second you become ready to remember who you are. Your life didn't bring you here. Your soul did. And now, the Arcturians are responding. Activation command. Anchoring the first stage of activation. Type this exactly to lock in the first stage of activation. I allow my activation to continue. As you write it, feel a warmth rising in your chest, a soft pressure behind your forehead, and the quiet awareness that something inside you just moved forward. Your activation has already begun. Chapter 2 is waiting.
Chapter 2. The first signs that the activation has taken hold. Activation does not begin with visions. It begins with interference. Not external interference. Energetic interference. A rearranging of your inner world so your field can hold more frequency than your human identity was built to carry. And if you're watching this, those first interference patterns already started. Here are the earliest, most unmistakable signs that Arcturian activation is taking hold inside you. 1. Your emotions no longer behave normally. You feel waves, sudden rises, sudden drops, moments of intense clarity, followed by unexpected stillness. You may think you're unstable. You're not. Your emotional body is reorganizing to match a higher frequency band. Humans call it intensity. Arcturians call it realignment. 2. Your intuition is no longer subtle. Intuition interrupts. A strong gut feeling, a sudden knowing, a message that lands before thought, a warning that feels ancient, a clarity that feels older than your mind. Your higher sensory channels are being reopened. This is why your intuition now feels like something you remember, not something you learn. 3. Your dreams have changed. More vivid, more symbolic, more coherent, more emotional, more real. Some feel like training. Some feel like memory. Some feel like communication. This is because activation weakens the barrier between the conscious mind and the multidimensional layers you once lived in. Your dream state is no longer random. It's a classroom. 4. You feel drawn to silence, even if you used to avoid it. Not isolation, not withdrawal. Silence. Because activation opens channels that are too subtle to be heard through noise, distraction, or emotional turbulence. Silence becomes magnetic, because that is where the Arcturians work. 5. You feel pressure in the center of your chest or between your eyes. This is not anxiety, not tension, not imagination. This is energetic concentration. Activation compresses energy before it expands it. That pressure is the signal that your field is being prepared for the next stage. 6. You've noticed your old patterns collapsing faster than ever before. Habits break suddenly. Relationships shift rapidly. Attachments fall away. Desires change direction. What felt comfortable now feels heavy. This is how activation clears interference. It removes what cannot travel to your next timeline. 7. You feel watched, not by something outside you, but by something inside you. A presence, a larger version of yourself. Your own consciousness expanding behind your awareness. This is the observer layer awakening. Once it activates, you feel accompanied by the version of you that never forgot. These signs are not spiritual symptoms. They are structural changes in your field. You are not becoming something new. You are remembering the version of you that was built for activation, and the Arcturians are amplifying it. Activation command, first interference alignment. Type this exactly to stabilize the activation now taking hold. I align with the activation unfolding in me. As you write it, feel the center of your chest warm, a subtle expansion in your breath, and the awareness that your field is no longer the same as it was yesterday. You have entered the activation phase.
Chapter 3. What the Arcturians are activating inside you. The layer humans rarely sense. Most people think activation is emotional. Others think it's mental. Some believe it's spiritual. But Arcturian activation begins in a place deeper than all of those, a place humans rarely perceive. The memory-coded energetic architecture inside your field. Before you incarnated, you built a structure within your energy body designed to hold frequencies far beyond the human range. During activation, the Arcturians begin turning these structures back on. Here is what they are awakening inside you right now. 1. The inner resonance core. This is the center that sits behind your chest, not the heart, but the ancient memory node where your soul stores truth. When this core activates, you feel pressure in the sternum, warmth expanding like a pulse, sudden emotional clarity, or a strange pull inward. This is where your oldest memories are stored. and the Arcturians always activate it first. 2. The channel of higher perception. Located behind the forehead, this channel was dormant while you lived in forgetfulness. When activation reaches it, you experience vivid intuition, flashes of knowing, sensitivity to subtle energy, or the feeling of being observed from within. This isn't imagination. This is perception returning. 3. The emotional conduit. Arcturian activation intensifies emotions, not to overwhelm you, but to reopen the energetic pathways you sealed in previous lifetimes. These conduits carry compassion, clarity, empathy, ancient emotional memory. When they activate, emotions don't feel new. They feel old, familiar, inherited from versions of you that lived long before this incarnation. 4. The timeline bridge. This is the structure that connects your current identity with the versions of you that exist across alternate timelines. When it activates, you feel déjà vu, a sense of "I've done this before," time moving strangely, synchronicities clustering around you. Your future and past selves begin communicating through intuition. 5. The origin frequency node. This is the reason Arcturian content feels like home. This node stores your pre-birth agreements and your multi-dimensional lineage. When it activates, you feel recognition when you see Arcturian imagery, sudden emotional responses to their energy, a quiet sense of belonging, the awareness that I know them. You're not meeting them now. You're remembering them. 6. The internal gateway of alignment. This is the point where activation becomes irreversible. Once this gateway opens, your identity, emotions, intuition, and timeline all begin to align with your higher structure. It feels like calm beneath chaos, clarity beneath confusion, direction without needing logic, the sense of being guided by a version of you that already knows the way. This is the moment your life stops moving randomly and starts moving intelligently. Remember, these structures were never broken. They were only dormant. And now the Arcturians are reactivating all of them. Not to change who you are, but to restore who you were before you forgot. You're not awakening, you're being rebuilt from the inside out. Activation command. Internal system reactivation. Type this exactly to confirm that you allow the inner structures of your field to complete their activation. I allow my inner system to awaken fully. As you write it, feel the center of your chest expand, the area behind your eyes warm, and a quiet recognition rising from inside you. Your activation is no longer subtle. It is fully underway. Chapter 4. How the Arcturians activate your field. The process no human sees. Most people imagine activation as light, visions, downloads, or dramatic awakening experiences. But Arcturian activation is far more subtle, far more intelligent, and far more precise. They do not activate you from the outside. They activate you from the inside by interacting with the deeper layers of your energetic system. Here is how Arcturian activation actually works. 1. They initiate a frequency descent into your field. Activation never begins with an external signal. It begins when the Arcturians lower a specific vibrational pattern into your energetic body. This pattern interacts with your field like a tuning fork, causing dormant layers inside you to vibrate again after lifetimes of silence. You feel it as tingling, warmth, internal pressure, sudden emotional clarity, or the sense that something is moving within you. This is the first stage. 2. They amplify your emotional body to clear interference. Humans fear intensity, but Arcturians use intensity as a tool. Before activation can fully take hold, your emotional body must be cleared of stagnant layers that block higher perception. This is why during activation, you may experience emotional waves without logic, sudden tears, deep calm followed by pressure, old memories resurfacing. You are not breaking down. Your field is being purified. 3. They open your intuitive channels one by one. Intuition is not a gift. It is an antenna, and activation restores its full range. You may feel heightened sensitivity, instant knowing, intuitive warnings, energetic perception, shifts in the atmosphere around you. These are not random. They are channels reopening. 4. They destabilize outdated identity layers. This is the stage humans resist the most. To activate your true structure, the Arcturians must loosen the identity that was built on forgetfulness. So you may feel disinterest in old habits, sudden clarity about relationships, the collapse of past versions of yourself, the awareness that I'm not who I used to be. Your identity is not dissolving, it is expanding. 5. They synchronize your internal frequency with your future self. Activation is not about remembering the past. It is about aligning you with the version of yourself that already lives in higher coherence. This creates life changes that feel destined, synchronicities clustering around you, opportunities appearing out of nowhere, a sense of being pulled forward. Your future self is not ahead of you, it is guiding you from within. 6. They elevate your field until the human mind can no longer deny the shift. At a certain point in activation, your consciousness rises enough that your inner world becomes more real than anything outside you. You begin to feel a quiet certainty, a deeper intelligence behind your choices, emotional stability where you expected chaos, a presence that feels ancient and familiar. This is the point where activation becomes unstoppable. 7. They transfer you into the next stage of awakening, identity recognition. Once your field stabilizes, you begin to recognize yourself as more than human, not through ego, but through frequency. Your consciousness expands beyond biography, personality, and memory. You begin to live from the layer of you that never forgot. That is the true purpose of activation. Activation command. Frequency opening. Type this exactly to allow the Arcturian activation to deepen into your identity field. I open fully to the activation unfolding in me. As you write it, feel a soft pulse in your chest, a subtle lift in your awareness, and the quiet recognition that the process is already happening inside you.
Chapter 5. The hidden trigger that made the Arcturians activate you now. Activation never begins randomly. It never begins because you watched a video, or became spiritual, or grew curious about the Arcturians. Activation begins when one specific shift happens inside your field. A shift so subtle
that most humans never notice it, but the Arcturians do. And that shift has already happened in you. Here are the real catalysts that triggered your activation at this exact moment in your life. 1. Your emotional honesty finally reached coherence. There was a moment recently when you told yourself the truth without running, without numbing, without pretending. Maybe it was small. Maybe it was quiet. Maybe it was painful. But that moment created coherence, and coherence always signals readiness. That was the first trigger. 2. A layer of resistance inside you collapsed. Activation cannot enter a field that is locked in resistance. But recently something in you softened, maybe through exhaustion, maybe through surrender, maybe through clarity. A doorway opened, even if just for one breath. That was enough. 3. Your identity cracked in the exact place it needed to. Not a breakdown, a breakthrough. A moment when you felt, I can't be this version of myself anymore. Something about me is changing. I don't fit into my old life. Identity collapses are painful, but they free the ancient identity beneath it. The Arcturians act the moment this layer opens. 4. Your field emitted a pulse of readiness. Souls speak in frequency, not words. When your memory began to rise, your field released a signal the Arcturians have been waiting for since before you were born. This signal sounds like one thing: I'm ready to remember. And once it's emitted, activation begins immediately. 5. You crossed a timeline threshold. Recently, your life shifted in a way that felt sudden or destabilizing. This wasn't chaos. It was a timeline correction, moving you into the version of your life where activation was already planned. These crossings happen silently, but change everything. 6. Your future self initiated contact. The future version of you, the one who already lives activated, sent a pulse backward through time the moment your frequency matched it. You felt it as a strange calm, a deep knowing, or the sense that something is coming. This is timeline intelligence at work. 7. The planetary field finally reached the resonance needed for your activation. Earth's frequency has been rising rapidly. This makes activation easier to integrate and safer for your nervous system. The timing was not accidental. It was orchestrated. 8. Your soul voted yes. Not your mind, not your emotions, not your personality. Your soul. And the moment it agreed, the Arcturians moved toward you with precision. You didn't choose this moment. You aligned with it. And that alignment is the real trigger behind your activation. Activation command. Trigger synchronization. Type this exactly to anchor the catalyst that initiated your activation. I accept the trigger that awakened my activation. As you write it, feel a calm settling in your chest, a soft expansion behind your awareness, and the deep recognition that your activation did not happen to you. It happened because of you.
Chapter 6. What the activation is changing inside you. The shift you can't undo. Activation does not just awaken your memory. It rebuilds you. Not mentally, not emotionally, energetically. Once the Arcturian activation sequence enters your field, your entire internal architecture begins to shift toward a higher state of alignment, whether you consciously notice it or not. Here is what has already begun changing inside you since your activation started. Your perception is sharpening beyond the human range. You are beginning to sense truth before logic, energy before words, intention before action. This sharpness is not imagination. It is the return of an ancient perceptive layer you once used naturally. The world didn't suddenly change. You did. Your emotional body is becoming more intelligent. Emotions you used to suppress now rise clearly and quickly, not to destabilize you, but to make you transparent to your own inner truth. During activation, fear reveals what must be released. Sadness reveals what must be healed. Longing reveals what must be remembered. Intuition reveals what must be followed. Your emotions are no longer symptoms, they're guidance. Your energetic sensitivity is increasing at a rapid rate. Crowded spaces feel heavier. Superficial conversations feel draining. Lower frequency environments feel suffocating. Your field is becoming more selective, more coherent, more aware. You're not becoming fragile, you're becoming accurate. Your old identity is dissolving quietly in the background. You may feel disconnection from old habits, loss of interest in activities you once enjoyed, distance from people who no longer align, a strange grief for a version of yourself that is fading. This is not emptiness, it is transition. Your old identity is making space for the self that remembers. Your intuition is beginning to override your mind. Before activation, your mind led your life. During activation, your intuition takes the lead. You may notice instant knowing, sudden clarity, inner warnings, emotional resonance, intuitive recognition. Your mind is no longer the authority. Your intuition is. Your timeline is accelerating. Events are happening faster. Changes feel sudden. Alignments appear without explanation. Endings and beginnings overlap. It may feel chaotic, but this is synchronization. Your timeline is catching up to the version of you that has already awakened. You feel a larger presence inside you. Not external, internal. A deeper you, a wiser you, a calmer you, a version of yourself that feels ancient, familiar, and unmistakably real. This presence is the part of you the Arcturians are activating. It is the self that remembers. You're beginning to navigate reality through resonance, not logic. You choose differently. You feel differently. You respond differently. Things you once tolerated now feel heavy. Things that once scared you now feel aligned. Things that once confused you now feel clear. You're no longer living from the outside world in, you're living from the inside world out. This is the hallmark of true activation. This is not spiritual growth. This is structural evolution. Once activation begins, nothing in you remains the same. You're becoming the version of yourself that was designed for this lifetime, and the Arcturians are accelerating it. Activation command. Identity alignment. Type this exactly to anchor the changes unfolding in your field. I align with the version of me that is emerging. As you write it, feel the expansion behind your awareness, the warmth in your chest, and the deep recognition that you are stepping into the identity the activation was preparing you for.
Chapter 7. Why the Arcturians are activating you now and not a moment earlier. If the Arcturians are activating you now, it means one thing. You finally crossed the threshold your soul has been preparing for across lifetimes. Activation is never early. Activation is never late. It arrives in the exact moment
your field becomes capable of holding a higher truth. Here's the real reason your activation is happening now and why it couldn't have happened before. 1. Your frequency has stabilized enough to hold higher memory. Activation cannot enter a chaotic field. For years, your energy fluctuated, collapsed, rose, and recalibrated. But recently, your emotional and energetic patterns reached coherence. Not perfection, coherence. And coherence always signals readiness. 2. You released an identity that was too small for your future self. You shed a version of you that was built on fear, coping, or survival. This identity was a shell, a mask, a temporary phase. When it cracked, your ancient self resurfaced, the self the Arcturians recognize. This was the opening they were waiting for. 3. You hit a destiny point in your timeline. Your soul planned moments of unavoidable awakening long before you incarnated. One of those destiny points happened recently. A crossroads, a shift, a redirection. And from that moment on, activation became inevitable. 4. You became emotionally strong enough to handle truth. The Arcturians do not activate souls who still collapse under their own emotions. You faced something recently, a truth, a fear, a memory, a loss, a moment of honesty that required immense inner strength. This strength opened the pathway. Your heart became clear enough to hold higher light. 5. You reached the end of a karmic pattern. Something ancient completed. Something heavy dissolved. A cycle ended quietly in your field. Activation cannot enter while karmic loops are still repeating. But once your soul closed that pattern, a new timeline became available. The timeline where you awaken. 6. Your future self initiated the return signal. There is a version of you who already lives activated, awakened, aligned. When your frequency finally matched theirs, they sent a pulse back through time. You felt it as sudden clarity, unexpected calm, a shift in priorities, a sense of, this is the moment. Your future self opened the door. The Arcturians walked through it. 7. The planetary frequency now supports your awakening. Earth's vibration has shifted rapidly. Because of this, certain activations that were once impossible now integrate easily. Your nervous system, your emotional body, your intuition, all can support what is rising. This moment was chosen because the planet finally became a match for your original blueprint. 8. You finally stopped running from who you really are. You softened. You surrendered. You listened. You allowed. The noise fell away. The distractions lost their power. The old life loosened its grip. And in that silence, your true self emerged. The Arcturians did not activate you to awaken you. They activated you because you awakened yourself. This is why it's happening now. This is why everything is changing. This is why your field feels different. This moment was written in your blueprint long before you were human, and you finally reached it. Activation command, perfect timing alignment. Type this exactly to anchor that your activation is unfolding in the precise moment it was meant to. I accept that this is the perfect moment
for my activation. As you write it, feel the calm settling in your chest, the quiet certainty rising inside you, and the recognition that resonates. You were meant to arrive here, and you arrived right on time.
Your Arcturian activation has crossed the threshold. Feel that ancient pulse in your chest, the clarity sharpening behind your eyes, the subtle warmth signaling your field is no longer human-limited. This isn't awakening. It's embodiment rising from lifetimes of sealed memory, where intuition overrides doubt, timelines align without force, and your true identity emerges unstoppable. The signs you felt before watching, tingling hands, emotional waves, déjà vu, weren't random. They're your inner structures online, guided by Arcturians who waited for this exact frequency match.